Alright, so I'm gonna just cover basics again, just using one of my replays. Instead of doing it live, where I'm gonna get a little bit more distracted, I'll just kind of point out what I'm doing. So, if you see, and I have three groups that I have units deployed using the minimap too, and I deploy these guys on main roads, and I'm heading them towards tree lines. For example, these guys I'm going to start trying to get secure this tree line and this group of trees. The guys on this road, I have scouts going to the tip of these trees. And again, your scouts, as soon as they get out of their vehicle, turn their weapons off, you do not want them to fire and give away their position. So we'll just start the replay. Uh, I tend to go pretty infantry heavy. I like to get good just control of the map starting, and if you can, throw at least one AT or some type of AT with all your infantry, or if you have a starting tank or something, that'll work too. But the big thing is, you see, if you do not know, to see your sight lines. You know, I know he's probably coming up this road, and he's probably going to be going for these trees and this tree line. So I'm going to deploy before I cross. It's unlikely he has an AT gun set up quick or anything, but you can lose vehicles and stuff very quick especially if he starts at the tank. Again, I have a leader that I sent with my units over here. I want to keep the leader in range. That's why I send these a vet 3. So a leader will vet everything in a circle of influence. So you can say I have my recon turn their guns off over here, and I'm going probably way too slow. I'm playing against a friend in this replay, so it's not too serious. But this early game, the quicker you can get everything to position with a few clicks as possible, the better. So I have two infantry over here on the left. They do not have recon, which isn't good. I probably should have sent a recon with them. So I have these guys getting in the tree line, giving me sight. I'm just taking it slow. Like right now, like I have slightly less map control, but I don't care at this point. So I got vision on him, and quickly I'm forcing him to fall back. And again, a lot of that's because I have recon right there. I know these buildings are blocking line of sight over there, so that's a leader circle, that dotted line you just seen. So if we go back real quick, it's very important to use leaders well. So everything in the circle is getting a star buff, which is huge. Experience, especially in stuff like AT guns, is going to help out so much. They're going to hit better. And stuff's just going to be much more effective in accuracy, suppression, resistance. So this area in the middle of this map, it's kind of rough because that's so open, and it's like those shrink cars and stuff will block sight. But I'm not too worried about that city. I know he has an advantage to get that city, so I'm securing flanks. But at the same time, I'm still trying to push around the whole map. Obviously, I have him pushing pretty deep in my center. But as long as I get the flanks pushed up, that's going to more or less force him back. So, same thing. He must not have good recon right now. So I should not have drove that vehicle up that quick. I'm a new player in this game as well, and that's a bad mistake. So again, you can see I'm fighting for tree lines. Now over with that flank, I'm keeping those guys behind the tree. Because if he most likely is going to recon in that tree line over there on the left flank, I'm assuming he probably has recon in these trees or houses or in this forest. So if these guys are in the tree line, they can get spotted and that tank can blast them. that doesn't do me any good. So if I have them on the opposite side of the tree line, even if there's recon there, recon still can't see through the trees. So you don't always want to be in a tree line or hedgerow unless you have to. Now I should be returning these guys quicker. These guys are pinned down, so I do a fallback command now. And if I get control of this forest, it's just gonna help me a ton. Bring up a little bit of support. With my recon, I see he has AT, which makes me pretty hesitant. And AT isn't a joke against infantry too. It can hurt infantry pretty well. So now that I'm just same thing, pushing up, pushing up. And you can see I'm not focusing too much on one area. I'm jumping back and forth. One of your best friends is next to the mini map, and that will tell you when a new unit is engaged, or you wipe out a unit, or you get a unit wiped out. So try and pay attention, see if it pops. I think there's an auto. So I have a new unit under attack right here. So that's a bit aggressive pushing up like that, but I did just knock out his armor. Again, I probably should bring some recon over here. I know that Kubel wagon there, that Jeep's there, whatever that was. And since I just have infantry, who I don't think they had AT, I probably shouldn't be pushing up like that. But now I'm trying to get full control of this flank. Now I'm so nervous thinking he has guys in these tree lines, and you get a little bit of an idea by the lines. But as you can see, this line was all up into that next set of factories. But that wasn't because he had someone there. That was because I had nothing there, and he probably has a large group of soldiers in the city. So when the line gets pushed like that, it doesn't always indicate troops are there if you have no one there, because it goes by, like, it estimates the power of the forces. So again, the Stuart, I'm just getting aggressive, hoping I can knock out this artillery that's trying to give me a headache. Poor move. Again, and this will happen a lot in this game. Things aren't always going to go the way you should play. That sort of got knocked out. But never push without recon. That being said, there's going to be times where you just have to push without recon. Either you're desperate, there's a big opportunity. It's a risk reward, and it's a high risk pushing without recon. So I'm just trying to get real aggressive on these flanks, because if you do push a flank up to the edge of the map, they can't deploy into your territory. So that's kind of what I'm trying to do on the left here. And I'm trying to get control of these barracks. Now I have control of that next tree line, which is huge. And best way to play this game is you're going from tree line to tree line, or town to town. Because once you get recon and units in a tree line in town, it basically everywhere in front of you is now a new killing field. It's much harder to attack. So he just looks like Ostrup in there, which are not very good units on their own. They really need support. So I'm just trying to push these guys up to get that territory pushed all the way up. And I'm assuming if he has something in the tree line, it would have fired by now. And worst case, I lose 2 units. So I'm trying to move my infantry and AT up. Not always, but a lot of times I like to keep these near each other, because AT is pretty useless if it doesn't have sight. So this guy is giving me good sight. Those trains are blocking, but he's giving me sight up the road, sight to if he gets anyone on the edge of those buildings. Now I need to get more recon up here. It's one of one of my biggest weaknesses still is, and it's going to happen to a lot of newer players. It's your pop recon out. It's going to die either because it just gets spotted and killed. You maybe misclick and send it into battle and it gets killed, but you don't replace it quick enough. If you can, as soon as recon dies, you almost always want to replace it. So I do have more recon coming up. Again, you usually want it on the front line. You don't want it with your soldiers because if they're getting fired at, the recon will take damage and get suppressed in their lines. So again, I push up pretty far. A lot of this coming in isn't because he has a big force. It's because I have nothing here. You're gonna see these vehicles are gonna, as soon you can actually see they're pushing the line back, and look how far back they are using that mini map. And that's what early, like if you have light tanks, even when it gets like mid game, they're still good for if something like that happens, sending them in to get the line back under control. So now he has control of that town. I just want to start setting guys up and attacking it from two different sides if I can. As you can see, I've hardly contested that city. That city for him allows him to really attack my left flank a lot. It doesn't allow him to do much on my right flank. You know, as long as I have that recon there, he can't really surprise me. But you can see he can keep pushing over. And now my whole left flank just collapsed. So I need to send guys as quick as I can. You're going to see I'm going to pop some artillery in my city here for two reasons. First being it's just good to have artillery and kind of counter his, hit his. I know he has guys in the city, so even if I'm blind firing, I might be getting some kills. And the second big reason is it's going to just keep those big pushes happening. So as you can see, that line came all, very far up, but he doesn't have anything here. It's just because I was absent. So sometimes it's good to just leave a weak unit, maybe like some type of armored transport back there after it disembarks its units. So I'm hiding these guys in the forest. I'm kind of playing this vehicle stupid, but these two units in the forest, I hide here for a very long time, like 10, 15 minutes. And then I bring them out later after I kind of push back up. But other guys, as soon as that I got cut off, I just fell them back. You don't want them in combat. So I fell them back in a tree line and kind of had them hiding. Now that was also a stupid move on me. Maybe I didn't recognize that was anti-tank right away or whatever. But as soon as I see that, excuse me, I should have retreated. And retreat or reverse is G. So if you need to back a vehicle out, hit G. Memorize on the keybinds. Again, F will allow vehicles to drive faster. So they'll get to area as quick as they can, and they're going to take the main roads most of the way there. G will allow them to reverse. So if you have a tank taking fire, you usually want to reverse out so it doesn't turn around and expose its rear armor. A lot of times when you do click, if it is close behind it, it will reverse. Q is attack move. I don't use it as much as I need to, but you can see me using it sometimes. When my mouse gets that target icon in the upper, my mouse in game, in the upper right of it, it means I'm doing an attack move. C uses line of sight, which you haven't seen me utilize at all yet, but this is one of the two maps in beta. I kind of know the sight lines pretty well. Usually sights, once you learn what black sight 1 does, but it's still nice to pop it just so you're aware. So he's pressed up into the city. I want to get troops up in that tree line again. And having guys clumped up like that isn't good. It's a My micro is just not that good in this game yet, but when you take suppression, especially by something with a high rate of fire, it's gonna start suppressing all those guys. Or if they see one guy in the front of the tree line and you have guys even right in the back who don't have vision out yet, if the tank starts shooting, if it's missing, the shell's gonna suppress the guys in back. So it's almost, you can almost think of it as like splash damage sometimes, splash suppression or stress. I keep calling it suppression, but I guess technically it's stress. So I'm trying to get him out of sight behind that tree line because that tank came up. So I basically, at this point, have ceded control of that city. And what I end up doing is waiting a while. I do attack that city, but I wait long enough hoping that any guys he has in it, he's pulling out. Excuse me again. But any troops he has in it, he's going to pull out to attack my flanks so that I can take the city easier. But you can see he's starting to move guys up and assault across. Probably he sees this artillery and maybe hopes it's not defended. I should not have moved those guys up like that. The leaders, you should try and keep in a building back, like not on the side, but back ones, so units that have line of sight on them and can hit them. Now I have a lot of suppression here. I'm just running those scouts up to make sure I get sight. And you can see I amassed some more units, and I'm sending them in. That AT gun's about one of the only things I have to worry about now. So this pocket has just been getting hammered, especially by his artillery. And I'm trying to use my artillery to punch that little village down so I can push into it. And remember, artillery does not need line of sight. So throw it behind enemy lines, behind one or two tree lines if possible, or building lines. And at this point I am starting to press because I just, obviously that isn't good. These big pockets starting to open up. So I finally get this small little village. And again, like I said, it's about fighting from one. And this, if you ever get an AT gun fully suppressed like that, even with armor, or like, hell, most of those with transports, just open up on it. AT can't move fast, at least like the pack guns. And you can wipe it out extremely quick, even with tanks. But if you ever catch AT off guard, try and light it up the best you can. Now you can see my unit here has an ammo icon. It means he's running low or out of a certain type of ammunition. Now, that is pretty rare so far in this game. Usually, like infantry or a vehicle like that will have multiple machine guns, and they'll have one real high caliber machine gun, and most of the time that's what will run out of ammunition. Same for with infantry. If they have an MG in their unit, that's what runs out of ammunition, which it's usually one of the best weapons they have, so you want to repair it. But I'm not seeing that pop up here, and a lot of that is because a lot of units that started the game are probably dead up here, besides like scouts. And so again, it's something as a new player, which I am as well, you don't need to really worry about as much. Like, obviously I probably want to try and get a supply truck to him. And like I said in game, you know that that's a scout because he has that binocular icon. Obviously the icons tell you what they are, show you how good their anti-armor, their armor. And again, it's good to just make sure you're going all over the map. So I'm seeing these guys are getting cut off again, so I'm trying to send this guy back just to open up so these guys don't get cut off. And then I'm starting to send some utility vehicles in. So I have a flame crocodile that now that he has guys in the city, I know he has guys up here in buildings. That's going to be very effective at flushing them out and killing them. Again, this is one thing light vehicles are really good for, is just keeping that line control. And again, we know he had guys, I think, in this building and this building. Since I have nothing using the mini map up here, since I had nothing over here, it just extended because he had multiple units and I have nothing. So it's sometimes hard, but always try and keep units everywhere on the battlefield. So he's trying to get a push down. You can see he probably shouldn't have sent his recon down the road like that. So it's a recon unit. He probably should have sent them over through those trees and down here. Because when he sent them on the road, they got spotted very easily. And then he should have known I have a high presence in that forest. So again, when you have to move, always use the terrain to your advantage. And you can see at the bottom if the stupid thing goes away, or repair won't go away with my mouse on it. At the bottom left shows my planes. In certain units that have optics for their artillery, can do off-map artillery calling. So in the artillery, they're usually C. They usually face C units. I don't know if I get one out in this match, but the icon is, I think, like a visor. It's like a green visor, and it just means when that unit's on the field, it'll have a big circle around it. And then down here, usually, all the ones I've seen have been 3, and they can call an artillery off map 3 times. And you can do like basically super concentrated or bigger, and you just can call in 3 times as a cooldown. So now I'm starting to push into the city, and you're about to see why you do not want to just always bunch up like this. But I'm also trying to hit the city from the flank. Now I still have that town, good control over here. So here he comes in with a heavy bomber, and it just is going to smash my infantry because they're all bound up. So 2 of them knocked out, 1 down to 1 unit. Let's see that again. So he had, it looks like 8 men, 10 men, and 5. So 23, he killed 22 infantry with that bombing run. And more importantly, almost completely stalled my attack to the city. Luckily, I have some points built up, and I think I quickly, I get this crocodile in, because I haven't spotted any AT. If I can, I want to keep it far away from buildings, because units with AT could be hiding in these buildings, and I believe some do, and eventually knock this out. But you're going to see how effective fire is on units. But so you're going to see I'm going to just call a bunch more. I'm sure there's hotkeys for this. I know Tilda opens this up. I don't know if you can do just click like one through whatever, and it gives you. I need to look into that. I would assume there's hotkeys, so you don't have to click and drag, click and drag. So the up here, a lot of these guys have been taken out. I notice he is pushing up because of front line, so I rush some guys up there. Guy just get them in the tree line to hold. So that just covers the basics. With airplanes, I haven't been showing you as well. I have my mouse down here, but or on screen to point down there. But in the bottom left, the planes with the target, the crosshairs means they're like interceptor, dogceptors. They're going to be good at taking planes down. A in this game that spawns on the ground like a unit calling is usually not good at shooting planes down. It is as it is at getting them highly stressed. So what you want to do is if an enemy plane flies in by your AA and it starts getting stressed, that's when you call in your interceptor. Because once a plane's fully stressed, it gets shot down very, very easily. So AA is you kind of have to work in unison with an interceptor. And AA is just really good at suppressing units on the ground, especially infantry. Again, the thing I'll always stress to new players is recon. Make sure you have it. So you can see I'm edging my recon over there up a little bit. And this is a pretty poor example. I should have popped recon out on the left of this river here, where these units are, and I should get another recon up with those guys. But you want recon coverages everywhere in the map, and you want to make sure you almost most of the time turn your recon off. You don't want them using their weapons. Again, they're so small. Like half my units are two guys with this division set up. Two guys are going to die insanely quick, and it's not like they have amazing rifles. The only thing they're going to be able to fight is another recon unit. So he got too aggressive with that armor. I'm assuming he's going to try and go for a cutoff or flank, but I destroyed his Panzer. Now my Kraka got killed because you can see he had some anti-tank there, and that's just risk of pushing the city. But yeah, recon. Make sure you're attacking the entire front. When guys get cut off like this, don't panic. Just hide them. Like if these guys took fire again, I would probably just move them back in the woods more. Behind lines, you're not going to be as effective unless if you have a leader with them, which these guys do not. So I'm just gonna wait. Like he ran around his guys up here. If he knew those guys were there, he could probably do a lot, wipe them out. So I'll wait until, and at the end, I'll just skip further in. Oh. I guess it is towards the end. So finish out. So where do I bring those guys down? That's them. I mean, they end up getting basically slaughtered. I guess I jumped. So once I start I knock those guys out of the forest. So I'm pushing up, and then he moved his artillery up, so I'm trying to flank it and just get a little bit of a push. I know since I have armor, it's going to be moving quicker. I should probably wait a little bit longer for a line to kind of catch up, but I'm trying to kind of catch them off guard. But yeah, recon, turn fire off, fight the whole map. Don't focus on one area. Try and always think of center, left, and right. And looking at the map, usually you're going to use roads. So a lot of maps are going to have main roads. This map, of course, has a river. So I'm kind of thinking left flank is this road on the right side of the river over, right flanks this main road to the right, and then centers basically everything in the middle, mainly the city. So if you're having trouble paying attention to everything that's going on, make sure you listen for units getting into combat. Uh, I wish there was a way to know when units get suppressed earlier. Like if there's a thing that popped up like every fully stressed unit, that way you can uh, get some quicker and know about them. But if you just even if you just have to cycle, maybe every 15 seconds you go from left, center, right, and always keep checking that mini map. Uh, if I'm not seeing any red dots, I know I don't have to. That area doesn't need my attention. But at the same time, I'm still gonna creep. Now, there's a certain creep where I probably really never have to push past like these tree lines over here on the left where my mouse is. That feels just so open, and I can just spawn in those woods. Unless if I'm just being aggressive like I was at the beginning, there's not much point. Same thing over here. If you had a really good push, you could maybe go for these tree lines, but he has a lot. These houses and buildings are going to break line of sight. So basically, like me controlling this little town and this tree line, that's giving me what 60, 65% of the map. Same for over here, since he doesn't have troops. That's the name of the game is mostly map control. In Conquest it is, and then if you play Domination, you're getting more points for more of the map you control. So a lot of times, you don't need to be too aggressive about just pushing. So part of me wants to say always push, but make sure you know what the limit of the map dictates. So that was the match. Again, I hope you guys learned a little bit. I would do an actual battle, and maybe I will with a friend when he gets on. That way, I can focus more, and always, whoever I want to address, I can show you. But I know right now, just playing an AI or random person online, I'm going to get too focused and lose my thoughts too often. So thanks for watching. I'll try and start making some more detailed and in-depth videos as time goes on with Steel Division, especially once some of the meta start to develop and as the game gets released, which is going to happen in just a couple weeks now. But yep, hope everyone watching has a good day, and hopefully I'll see you in the game sometime.